Before the season even settled, the conversation had already changed. Every league reaches a moment where attention shifts from routine competition into something larger. In the WNBA, that moment seemed to arrive almost instantly. Headlines multiplied. Clips spread faster than box scores. Press conferences started reaching audiences that normally never followed women's basketball. And somehow, one name kept appearing at the center of the discussion: Caitlin Clark. What made the moment unusual wasn't simply performance. The league had already been built by elite players long before this wave of attention arrived. But the scale of public interest surrounding Clark created a different kind of conversation, one that stretched beyond statistics and into media coverage, fan culture, expectations, and identity. Crowds grew. Online discussions expanded. Every game seemed to generate reaction videos, debate panels, and endless commentary. Supporters viewed the surge as proof that the sport was entering a new phase. Critics questioned whether too much attention was being concentrated on one player while overlooking others who had helped build the league. That tension quickly became part of the story itself. What began as basketball coverage slowly turned into something more complicated: conversations about visibility, pressure, recognition, and what rapid growth should actually look like. Because when expectations rise this quickly, every moment starts carrying more meaning than anyone originally intended. But attention doesn't always create agreement. The spotlight got bigger than basketball. Professional sports always create expectations. But sometimes expectations grow so quickly that they stop being about wins and losses. They become something larger, about identity, growth, and what people believe a player represents. That's where the conversation around Caitlin Clark seemed to move. From the beginning, attention followed every performance, every interview, and every visible reaction. Fans celebrated the increased energy surrounding the league. New viewers arrived. More games became part of larger sports discussions. To many people, this felt like a turning point. But increased attention creates a different kind of pressure. Instead of simply being evaluated as a player, Clark increasingly became connected to broader conversations: league visibility, media priorities, fan behavior, and expectations for the future of women's basketball. Normal moments started receiving extraordinary analysis. A missed shot became a debate. A post-game answer became a headline. A facial expression became a theory. That shift created two competing viewpoints. One side argued that heightened attention was inevitable. Sports history is full of athletes who become symbols for larger change. In that view, increased scrutiny was simply part of reaching superstar status. The other side questioned whether the conversation had become too concentrated around one figure. Critics pointed out that the WNBA already had established stars, championship stories, and years of growth that deserved equal recognition. Neither perspective existed in isolation. Players continued competing. Coaches focused on games. But outside the court, media cycles accelerated. Commentary expanded. Fans debated every interaction and every decision. The discussion itself became impossible to separate from basketball. That created a difficult contrast. Opportunity and pressure often arrive together. More visibility can create more excitement, but it can also raise expectations to levels that make ordinary moments feel unusually important. And once that environment forms, even routine moments can start carrying unintended meaning. Soon, attention wasn't only about performances anymore. People started watching body language, searching for signals, reading into moments that may never have been meant to become stories. And then one moment changed the tone. A few seconds became thousands of opinions. By this point, the basketball conversation had started changing shape. Games were still being played. Teams were still preparing the same way they always had. But around the league, attention had become unusually focused, not just on outcomes, but on moments. And then one of those moments arrived. During a game and the conversations that followed, short clips began circulating online showing interactions that people immediately tried to decode. Camera angles, reactions on the bench, post-game appearances, body language, ordinary sports moments suddenly became material for endless interpretation. Within hours, social media timelines filled with theories. Some viewers believed they were seeing frustration. Others interpreted competitiveness. Some thought there was visible tension. Others argued people were projecting narratives onto completely normal basketball interactions. What made the situation spread wasn't necessarily the moment itself, it was how quickly people attached meaning to it. Sports has always included emotion. Players react. Coaches challenge. Competitors show frustration. But in a high-attention environment, context often disappears faster than clips spread. Replay. Pause. Zoom. Reaction. Repeat. That cycle turned brief interactions into larger stories. Commentary videos appeared. Discussion threads multiplied. Headlines started framing questions around chemistry, expectations, pressure, and leadership. The original moment became less important than what people believed it represented. Then came the responses. Public comments from inside the team pushed back against many of the assumptions forming online. Explanations emphasized that competitive conversations and emotional moments happen constantly during a season. The message was simple: not every intense interaction means conflict. But once attention reaches a certain level, explanations rarely stop interpretation. That created an interesting contrast. Reality moves slowly. The internet moves instantly. Inside a team environment, conversations happen continuously. Corrections happen. Adjustments happen. Emotion happens. But online, isolated moments often become complete stories before anyone directly involved even responds. For some fans, the viral discussion became evidence that expectations around Clark had become impossible to separate from every public appearance. For others, the reaction revealed something bitter about modern sports culture itself, how audiences increasingly consume narratives alongside games. Suddenly, the conversation wasn't only about performance anymore. It became about attention. About who controls the story. CE did. Now, highlights appear instantly. Commentary follows immediately. Reactions spread before context arrives. And once a narrative gains momentum, it often starts influencing how future moments are interpreted. That seemed to become part of the discussion. Routine coaching exchanges became talking points. Post-game comments generated speculation. Short clips were treated like complete explanations. Meanwhile, comments coming from inside the team often sounded far less dramatic. Public responses repeatedly emphasized competition, communication, and normal professional dynamics. Coaches spoke about focus. Players talked about improvement. Teammates described environments that looked far more ordinary than the online conversation suggested. That created a noticeable contrast. Inside the team, preparation, correction, competition. Outside the team, interpretation, debate, prediction. Neither side existed entirely on its own. Fans care because they're invested. Media responds because audiences engage. Content creators react because conversations spread. And once all three combine, attention becomes its own ecosystem. That doesn't mean discussion is wrong. Sports are emotional. People connect with stories. But when reactions become faster than information, the conversation can slowly shift away from the game itself. That's where the Clark discussion became bigger than one player. People weren't only arguing about performance anymore. They were debating how athletes should be covered. How much pressure is fair? Whether visibility creates unrealistic expectations. And whether modern sports culture rewards analysis or rewards attention. For some viewers, the nonstop discussion showed growing interest in the WNBA. For others, it showed how quickly audiences can transform normal moments into larger narratives. Either way, something had changed. Coverage was no longer sitting outside the story. Coverage had become part of the story. And once that happens, the focus naturally shifts to a much bigger question. The bigger question wasn't about one player. Maybe this conversation was never only about one person. By now, the discussion had moved beyond highlights, interviews, and viral moments. What started as reactions to one player increasingly became a larger conversation about where the league is headed and how growth changes expectations. Because growth rarely arrives quietly. When leagues expand their audience, attention changes. New viewers bring new habits. Longtime fans protect what they've supported for years. Media coverage evolves. Storylines become larger. Expectations become louder. That tension isn't unique to the WNBA. But in this moment, it became especially visible. For some fans, the increased spotlight represented opportunity. More discussion meant more visibility. More attention could lead to stronger business outcomes, wider recognition, and a bigger stage for athletes across the league. From that perspective, heightened interest wasn't something to resist. It was evidence that women's basketball had reached a new level of public relevance. But others raised a different question. If attention becomes too focused on one star, what happens to the larger identity of the league? That concern appeared repeatedly in discussions surrounding media coverage and fan conversations. The WNBA already had established stars, championship stories, historic performances, and years of players building the foundation for growth. So when one player becomes the center of public attention, people naturally ask whether the broader picture is being overlooked. That's where the contrast became difficult to ignore. Individual stars attract audiences. Strong leagues sustain audiences. Those two ideas don't have to compete, but balancing them is never simple. History shows that major sports moments often begin with recognizable figures before expanding into deeper engagement. A viewer may arrive for one athlete and stay for teams, rivalries, personalities, and the sport itself. That possibility sits underneath much of this discussion. Not whether one player deserves attention, but whether the attention creates space for more stories, more teams, more personalities, more investment, more reasons for people to stay. And maybe that's why this moment feels bigger than the headlines surrounding it. Because the real question isn't whether one athlete changed the conversation. It's whether the conversation creates lasting change. If more people watch, if more people care, if more players receive recognition, then moments like these become part of something larger than internet debate. They become markers of growth. Not perfect, not simple, but meaningful. And that leaves one final question hanging over everything. But how will people remember this moment? Whether people agreed or disagreed, nobody ignored it. That may end up being the simplest way to describe this moment. What began as attention around a player gradually turned into something much larger. Questions about media coverage, expectations, growth, pressure, identity, and what modern sports culture looks like when every moment becomes instantly visible. Some people saw excitement. Others saw imbalance. Some believed the attention represented progress. Others worried the conversation had become too centered on one storyline. But that disagreement may reveal something important. People only argue this intensely about things they care about. Because beneath the debates, headlines, clips, reactions, and opinions was something impossible to ignore. People were watching. People were discussing. People were paying attention. And for a league that continues growing, attention changes everything. That doesn't mean every headline is helpful. It doesn't mean every viral moment reflects reality. And it doesn't mean one player should carry expectations that belong to an entire sport. But it does show how quickly public conversations can reshape the way games are experienced. Maybe years from now, people won't remember individual clips or specific debates. Maybe they'll remember this period as a moment when expectations changed. When visibility accelerated. When women's basketball entered a different level of public discussion. Or maybe they'll simply remember that one season made more people stop and pay attention. Whatever perspective people take, one thing seems clear: this story was never only about one player. It became a conversation about how sports are covered, how audiences react, and how growth changes everything around it. And once those conversations begin, they rarely stay inside the arena.